yesterday. And 2 weeks ago, we did a hate on with Dana White. And we were talking about Dana and just the philosophies of work and so forth. Dana put something yesterday, a couple of days ago, and I want to put it on the table here and talk about it with you guys. We're going to put the video on how Dana White treats his employees at the UFC. And we're going to relate that to this whole theory of by 2027, apparently, everybody's going back to work. Check it out.
For UFC, and you get fired, when you treat people that way at a job, it's disgusting. And the company that I used to work for used to tell us all the time, if you don't like it, there's 100 people waiting for your job. Yeah. I'm that replaceable, huh? That's a great fucking feeling to go to work every day and say, we don't even really At the UFC, if your fucking kid has a play or your kid has a game or a practice, you better fucking be there.
That's cool.
We're all grown-ups, man. My team, they're as passionate as I am about the sport. You're a grown-up. You know what you need to do. You know what your fucking job is. You know what needs to get done. It's fight week or whatever, but don't not be a part of your family.
And Marty, I appreciate you, brother, for sharing that on the stage here this morning. So center stage, we're putting a key topic on the table. Apparently by 2027, nation, CEOs expect workers to be back in the office 5 days a week in a few years. And this new survey comes from Amazon announcing that its employees are expected to work full-time starting next year. In other words, there are many organizations now that are saying to their humans, you now come to the office so we can supervise you and put you to work. We don't trust that you're able to do your work remotely, or we don't trust that you're able to deliver results remotely. So two themes going on here. First of all, Dana, UFC, congratulations. I love that attitude. I love that approach. And I love that one thing he said, John, Marty, Kristina, which is, I want your family to love where you're going to work and where you're spending your time. That to me is golden, because when I'm working with Johnny or Marty or Tina, I want Terry going, holy fuck, John, I love how much fun you're having with the team over there. And I love, John, that you're committed to this whole thing. And I want Tina's family going, Tina, I know you got to make some sacrifices for us because we believe in what you're doing over there. I love those things that Dana is talking about, but let's go around the table on the statement that, I'm going to start with you, Johnny. By 2027, apparently, everybody's going back to work. What's your opinion on that? What's your thoughts on that? Jon Andersen.
Goodness gracious, man. I don't even know where to start with this one. You made the choice to get into that boat to begin with. So if you want to have someone else hold on to your steering wheel, you're going to have someone telling you what to do. You made that choice that you were going to be okay with it. So now that whoever it is decided to turn left, get ready to turn left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to argue. I don't know if everyone makes that choice. And I know the reasoning behind it, but there's a lot of complicated factors that people are facing, socioeconomic reasons, that they have no choice. That doesn't mean it has to continue like that forever, but where they are initially may not be a choice. Now we are in this day and age where you can build a cash flowing business online in a much different way. But initially, I'm not sure that everyone has that choice.
Yeah. Marty.
Man, I could go in so many directions with this, but I'm not surprised. We look at this whole wave started because of the whole pandemic and COVID, and that didn't last forever. And we're a couple years out from it, so I'm not surprised. Then you got all these office buildings. People are struggling to sell. People trying to turn them into apartment buildings. They're struggling for that too. So they just throw money down the drain, so we might as well put the office buildings back to use. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, Marty, I think you just, from my point of view, from my POV, you just hit the nail on the proverbial head. And Good Time talks about it here too. Because the companies can't sell their buildings, so they need to have them back in office. And here's the reality. This is where I struggle, and this is where I get frustrated. We got a bunch of executives and CEOs. They're all my friends. Love all you guys, because I know you guys all like to wear sunglasses and hats to work and nice John Varvatos sweaters. And I know you guys all want to be a rock star like me. So I get it. I understand that you guys love to go to the ivory tower. You're like, hey, fuck, I wish I could go sit in the chair. I get it. I understand all of that.
I like this, Keith.
I just want you to be truthful with your team, that the reality is when you sit down and look at your books, you're like, hey, we just built this building. Johnny, there's nobody in it. Holy fuck, man. Look at our books. We have no value on our books. And Good Time is saying that the value of our business is not as high as it used to be because there's nobody in our building. And because we can't lease the floors below it, and because nobody wants to come to work, the value of our building is nothing. So I just wish that CEOs would be truthful with their teams, which there's this reality that there's a lot going on here. And it's not just about coming back to work. It's that there's buildings in play. There's leases in play. There's values of there's all these buildings in the middle of big urban downtowns. And you got these governments saying, but Johnny, why don't you have your team back to the office? But Keith, I don't want to bring them back to the office. Yeah, but John, you're an upstanding citizen of Winnipeg and you have 30,000 square feet of building. There's nobody in it. I want to get behind the microphone. No, but you got to bring them to work. The point is, nation, I'm just tired of the CEOs because there's no other reason. And the last time I checked, Marty, some of the greatest pieces of art and and music were created collaboratively. So this whole argument that you can't create and you can't collaborate in the same room is bullshit, because some of the greatest music, some of the greatest films were not created in the same room. So I do understand that there are certain buildings and work where we all have to get together and do it on site or do it in an office or do it in a facility. I get all that. But for the most part, let's just be truthful. Let's stop fucking talking about there's reasons why we think we need to have our people back, when the reality is it's very much a real estate play. That's the truth. It's more of a real estate play than anything to get people back to the office. So
and you fight it, but this shit's not going away.
No, it's not.
There's only going to be a certain generation of people that you might be able to actually boss back to work, because we're suckers. We're a little bit older and we grew up a little bit differently. I promise you, one generation left and you cannot boss these people around. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Part of that too, and which I love to see, and we actually hit a stat in one of the shows prior, was that this younger generation, like 70% of them are driven by purpose, which now when you're driven by purpose, all of the rules change. And that's the thing that I, really, when it comes down to it, if these leaders would be more concerned with changing their team's lives as well as changing their customers' lives, then the equation would be more complete and it would work better and everybody would be happier, bosses, employees, and clients and customers.
Yes.
Like shareholders' lives.
That's right. Any question for you before we bring Adam Host here in 2 minutes? We're gonna get to the fit tip here in a quick second. Johnny, you got 3 young daughters that are growing up and working their way into the world. Do they think about going to work in a building? I know that you're like, I haven't worked in a job anywhere, but your daughters are their own humans. Do they have a desire to go work somewhere? Are they intrigued by this remote work type stuff? Or what kind of things do they think about, John?
Because they're driven by purpose, because I pounded that into their heads. They don't really care. It doesn't make a difference where they're going to work, because they're going with the idea that they've got something, they're making a difference. They just know that they're driven to make a difference.
I'm going to bring Adam Host in a quick second, but I'm going to wrap this comment up. In 2014, I wrote an article. I published it on Medium. It was called "Why Are We All Going to Work?" We all invented this thing called the internet, and we all can get work done. So if we focus on results instead of getting the work done, I believe magic can happen. So work should not be defined by a place. Work should be defined by results. We're going to bring Adam Host in to talk about this as well in a couple of minutes, but first we're going to do this.